Parfait.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the press conference to present the 2021 awardees. I am Lucille Courtial, Executive Secretary of the Association BMed, and I will be moderating the discussions. In order to present to you to BMed and our actions, I will give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Bernard Fautrier, Plenipotentiary Minister and advisor of His Serene Highness for Environmental Matters and President of BMed. Mr. Fautrier, you have the floor. Thank you, Lucille. Hello, everyone. All of you who are brave enough to be with us in the room or those who are sitting behind their screens. I will not repeat again how urgent is the plastic issue in sea and the numbers of tons that are dumped every day in the Mediterranean. I won't mention the millions, billions of plastic particles that end up in the Mediterranean and that make the Mediterranean the most polluted sea in the world. All of this has consequences either on the wildlife, marine wildlife, impacts on the animals, marine animals. It's about the ingestion of microparticles and toxins ingestion in the animals again, who are at the basis of the food chain. If they are at the part of the food chain, they end up in our plates and in our stomachs. And this is all the consequences of the leakage of all these microplastics that contribute to pathogens at sea. It's an issue that is not well known, and we try to work on it at Monaco with the Scientific Center. We organized, in the collaboration with the foundation, in the month of December, a very important seminar, very worrying seminar on the issues of the link of the situation of the ocean and the human health. All of that has, of course, economic consequences and costs 100 million euros every year in terms of economic impacts, whether it's on tourism, transportation, fisheries. So keeping this in mind, 5 years ago, with the Foundation Prince Albert II, we mobilized a number of partners with similar issues, concerns, whether it's a Tara Ocean Foundation, Surf Riders Foundation, MAVA Foundation, and of course the IUCN, who gathered their strengths to put together this BMed initiative, the goal being to reduce the plastic pollution in the Mediterranean, to mobilize and support a network of actors, implement sustainable solutions, and encourage the sharing of good practices and experiences. So it's been about 4 years that BMed is working, functioning. It's an association of Monegasque law. It has started during these years over 300 million euros to prevent the pollution and find solutions. Today, and for about over than a year, we have diversified our activities. On the one side, we have a college of companies that has been created at the end of 2019 that is quite successful as it regroups the companies of the Mediterranean region that are particularly concerned about finding solutions, whether it's in their production chain or in the way they consume plastic. That involves company coming from different sectors, in the distribution sector, in the hotel industry, in the production of packagings. So this activity has been growing, and I think it's very important to mobilize the economic actors and incite them to really worry about these issues. We also back some projects and animations of actors on the ground. It's been the 5th year now that we are backing every year ground projects throughout a call for micro initiatives. We want to reduce, of course, plastic. We want to mobilize actors on the ground, improve the waste management systems, and raise awareness, and help as well to put together some new regulation. Later on, We had a particularly interesting session during which we listened to the awardees of 2020, who are all passionate individuals, and they all gave us a vivid description of their action and their results and the issues that they faced, and I think it's very positive. Today, we are at the 5th call for micro initiatives for 2021, and we will award about 12 projects in 9 different countries. You see the map of the Mediterranean up on the screen. I don't need to list the countries. All these initiatives that are awarded today will grow the BMed network. We will meet practically 70 projects now in 14 different countries. And this is an example of the positive reactions that we see to these actions in view to improving the situation of our common sea. That's what I wanted to tell you in introduction, and I think now we will give the floor to the awardees themselves who will present their projects. But first, over to Lucille, who will give us the details.
Monsieur.
Thank you very much. Now we will move on to the presentation of the awardees. Each of them will present themselves and present their projects in 1 minute. That's the challenge of the day. We'll start with the first project, which is called Local Knowledge and the project leader is Menorca Preservation Fund, and it will be presented by Rebecca Morris. Rebecca, you have the floor.
In 2020, Menorca Preservation launched the Plastic-Free Menorca Alliance, which was 5 organizations involved in joining forces to reduce single-use plastic consumption and waste on the island. As part of this alliance, we have applied to BMed to strengthen 2 areas of work. Firstly, to better understand local plastic consumption habits and opinions amongst citizens, as well as private and institutional entities, in order to drive the Alliance actions in the right direction and ensure we can measure consistent and real impact of our project. This will be done via online surveys to citizens and businesses and run workshops with the tourist sector and municipalities of the island. The second point is to strengthen our currently running project of implementing a plastic-free certification on Menorca.
Merci beaucoup, Rebecca. Nous passons maintenant.
Thank you, Rebecca. We'll now move to the next project, which is the project of the Association Tatavaka, presented to you by Ivana Kordish, and it's called Towards to a Plastic-Free Archipelago, which will take place in Croatian. Ivana, you have the floor.
Il semble qu'on ait un souci de connexion avec Ivana, donc on reviendra sur ce projet lorsqu'il sera résolu. On passe du coup au projet suivant qui s'appelle Project Pugnant de l'association Zibel, qui va vous être présenté par Mania Rousseau à Malte. Mania, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. So Zibel is an ENGO based in Malta and has been carrying out cleaning up activities for almost 4 years now. Our new project, Project Ponent, means west in the Maltese language, since it focuses on the west side of Malta. The objectives of the project are to remove marine and coastal plastic debris from these areas, which are inaccessible from shore and have never been cleaned up before. So in itself, this project is also acting as a pilot study for different methodologies for cleanups. We are doing this in partnership with local environmental authorities, diving groups, kayaking and boating groups as well. We will also be using a manta net to collect microplastic samples, which in itself will be used as an educational tool, and will also support generating content for our widespread digital awareness campaign, which will address the general public on plastic and its threats to the marine environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mania.
Thank you very much, Manya. Now we're going to move on to a project carried by the UMR Marbeck. It's called Diagnostic and Sustainability of the Practices of Shellfish in the Mediterranean. The case of microplastic. Delphine, you have the floor. The floor is called Déclic, and it's about having a diagnosis of the shellfish production and microplastic. Microplastic are below the size of 5 millimeters, and we want to have a reflection on the sustainability and the improvement of these farming practices. We are studying Le Thau Lake, where a lot of 90% of the shellfish is produced for the Mediterranean part. So that represents 2,000 jobs among 650 exploitation. They're done in the shellfish parks, the oyster parks, that use a lot of plastic material during the whole phases of the cycles of the oyster. And these materials have very strong environmental constraints, such as high waves, temperature change in temperatures, and that implies that these materials are aging prematurely. So in this context, our project has 3 goals. The first one is to look for and identify plastic in water in the sediments and oysters. The second is to do a survey among the professionals to understand better how their farming practice works and identify the material that they're using. And finally, communicate and raise awareness for the audience and the professionals to this invisible pollution that is microplastics. Thank you very much, Delphine. We are now going to Albania to find the association Local Knowledge and Action on Single Use. No. Dr. Vet and Community. Daniel, you have the floor. Bring plastic-free agriculture to the table. Daniel Ferko from Albania.
Is to reduce the plastic pollution caused by agriculture and farming products ending directly to our table, to the food that we consume. This is an innovation in Albania because the agriculture field linked with plastic has rarely been given attention to. Some of the activities that we plan to develop are sensitizing farmers for the use of plastics, encouraging the removal of plastic sacks and replacing them with neat ones made of flowers, and also securing willow tree crates to help the farmers collect the vegetables and the fruits. Also, another activity is to create an app that allows the farmers to communicate with each other regarding the plastic pollution. Also, to remove the plastic silage sheets using greenhouses, and to invest in the cover of the biggest greenhouses, some of the biggest greenhouses in Albania, to cover them with glass or willow trees. Also, we have planned to create 4 activities for the removal of plastics in 4,000 villages in Albania with the theme of Albania cultivates a plastic-free land. And the main partners of our projects are Ministry of Agriculture in Tirana and also Agriculture and Livestock Forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Nous passons maintenant.
Thank you, Daniel. We will now go back to the project Tatavaka, which will be presented by Ivana Kordic, because it seems that the connection is back on.
You can hear me, so give me a nod if you do.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. And thank you, Lucille, and thank you also BMET team for recognizing the value of our project and, of course, supporting it. So we started in 2018 in Zlarin as a small group of volunteers, working together with the tourist board, Zlarin, and the local municipality board. And I'm super excited that this is the first time that we got a bit, recognized on a bit larger level. So the idea we started from was to actually engage the local community in Zlarin to become the first plastic-free island in Croatia. And the plastic-free archipelago is sort of an organic continuation of the success that we had on Zlarin. And it will help us actually take the next step and test the model that we created there on the surrounding islands. So the idea is to work together with our project partners in this common effort. We work with a small NGO together for Krapanj, the city of Šibenik, which is supporting us, and it's super important for us. But also we have international partner Smilo on holding our back. So we're kind of, well, we are happy that this circle expanded after these years of working as volunteers. So we're starting from Krapanj. We're starting with the launch of Archipelago on 3rd July. Which, as you know, is the day the transposition period for the EU Single-Use Plastic Directive ends. And we will work on 3 main goals: to test replicability on the island of Krapanj, of the model. We want to tackle the waste management with the emphasis on plastic, but also other waste management problems on other islands, which have all common problems as on Zlarin. And third, we want to build this community of plastic-free islands in Croatia so that all the models and the marks and the brands that we developed are readily available for other people and community leaders, who want to bring their own small islands, shops, firms, communities, governments on the road to becoming plastic-free. And we're glad that we shared this idea with such a great crew, and all the best to all the projects that got elected. I hope we'll cooperate together.
Thank you very much, Ivana. Nous allons maintenant en Tunisie.
Let's go to Tunisia now with the Association for the Protection of the Coast of Bizerte. No plastic for our bread. This is Driss Sherif who is going to introduce us this project. Hello, everyone. Our project consists of acting against the use of plastic, may it be on the coast, but also in the city. It is broken down in 2 stages. We have no plastic, and we want clean beaches as well. We raise awareness among 20 bakeries in the city and also with the consumers and the clients. We use actually paper bags instead of plastic. The aim is to reject any kind of use of plastic. We have an 18 months project. Later on, our ultimate objective is to use textile bags. This is our dream. We are supported also by a simultaneous awareness-raising campaign on the beaches so as to induce all the swimmers not to discharge any kind of plastic at sea or on the beach. With this project, we would like to have a custom being ingrained in our culture for the protection of our beaches. Thank you, Driss. Let's go to Montenegro now for the NGO Green Life. Let's clean Ucini Coast from plastic. We have Azra Vukovic. You have the floor.
Thank you, Lucille. Hello, everyone. So in Ulcinj, we are actually planning to raise awareness of local people when it comes to the marine litter, because we have a lot of problems on the coast as well, but we want to focus more on the underwater litter this time. This is the reason why we are planning to organize several cleaning actions under the water in cooperation with a local diving club, Neptune. All this collected waste under the water, we are planning to analyze and to see and to try to define where it came from. Of course, all this information we are planning to use for the further steps and for the collaboration with the authorities in the local level, but on the country level as well. Also, we are planning to organize several information days for local people in Ulcinj together with our volunteers. And of course, all activities will be promoted through all possible channels, especially social media, in order to have bigger number of people who heard about this and to share information on wider level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Azra. Nous passons maintenant.
Thank you, Azra. Let's go now to the next project. The Nabil Environment Ecotourism Association from Tunisia, Amna Clay. And the project is a step of the green junior ambassadors towards zero plastic, a plastic-free school. Hello. Since the planet will have no test in the end, the young ambassadors, who are the first people concerned by pollution and plastic pollution especially, they have to empower themselves. And this is why we have an initiative of green young ambassadors. The overall objective is to create synergy within the framework of sustainable development. There will be model operations aiming at a plastic-free city with awareness raising among the different people. Not only the young ambassadors are concerned, but also their families and their close ones, so as to have a reduction of 30% of plastic by the creation of environmental clubs with juniors. And we want to train these ambassadors so that they can reduce their footprint and aim towards sustainable development and be a role model for the others. Thank you. Thank you, Amna. We will now give the floor to the Corsican Association, Mare Vivu, and Pierre-Ange Giudicelli will present Mission Corsicaire 2.0, a low-tech solution to upcycle collected plastics on the Corsican beaches. You have the floor. Thank you, Clémentine. Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure for me to speak to you. I'm actually very much in connection with Amna because we are young people as well. And we've been going on for 5 years. We started with a lot of sail boats, and we want to raise awareness among the population in a participatory approach to collect data on plastic pollution and to suggest mitigation measures, but also policy-making solutions. And also, we try to build up containers. The objective is to reduce plastics that we will find, to bring them to incineration plants, but also to talk about the way recycling works, but also the limits of recycling and the constraints pertain to it, so as to have reduction prevention measures. Thank you. Let's go now to the next project. IC, Environmental Organization for the Preservation of the Aquatic Ecosystem. We have Anastasia Charitou. This is done both in Greece and in Cyprus. And the project is #ZeroPlastic Awareness Raising Campaign against plastic debris and microplastics.
Hello, everyone. So IC implements in Greece the Zero Plastic campaign for the last 2 years. The campaign was funded by Ocean Care and includes manifold actions, from the creation of communication and educational materials to the implementation of public and educational events, and the active involvement of the tourism industry through the engagement of diving centers, which are conduct different actions. They report us the plastic waste they produce. They are also committed to ban and reduce their single-use plastic items and the products they use that contain microplastics. They also organize underwater cleanups, and they report the marine litter of their areas through the Dive Against Debris Citizen Science project. So now we are going to expand and enrich all the materials created and mainly spread the message through artworks and street art, through different artworks that are going to be created in public spaces and video projections that are going to also take place in public spaces. And also in collaboration with Aquademia, a fresh NGO in Cyprus, we are going to expand the involved diving centers in Cyprus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anastasia. Nous passons maintenant.
Let's go now to the next project, Regional Development Agency, Ulcin Business Association. which will develop a project in Albania called Engaging Beach Users and Snack Bars for a Clean Beach in Julcin. Elvir Zečević, you have the floor.
Clementine, hello to everyone. Just a small correction. It's not Albania, it's Ulci, Montenegro. And the idea is to improve the waste collection system in the region of Ulci, Montenegro. Ulci is a very specific touristic destination with very short tourism season. It lasts approximately 2 or 3 months. And with during this period, we have a lot of problems with waste. With actions planned with this initiative, we want to go further with the activities we have already started and are currently implementing here. Activities of this initiative are designed in 3 groups. The first group will be activities aimed to support local businesses to improve systems to collect plastic waste through development of special bins handmade with volunteers and with natural materials. Those bins will be distributed to the 3 beaches. The second group of activities is to provide alternative materials as a way to prepare for future steps in the country towards the sustainable and plastic-free future. And the third group of activities is to organize cleaning actions of the beaches of Ulcinj coast. These cleaning actions we have organized and before, and we have found a lot of plastic waste. Thank you.
Merci Elvire. Oui, en effet, je suis...
Indeed, sorry, the project is in Montenegro and not in Albania. Then the last project, which is a Greek project, project leader is Skopelos Dive Center PC, which will be presented by Ines Kirif. The project is called Reshape Plastic. You have the floor.
Hello, everyone. The objectives of this project are to record at local scale the current situation in terms of plastic waste production and pollution, to raise the awareness of local community, and to build up a small-scale recycling workspace to remanufacture plastic waste in new plastic products. So to achieve this, the main actions will be to organize on the island of Skopelos cleanups and post-surveys of the collected material and seek data from local stakeholders, to test low-cost and open-source basic machinery with which grind, melt, and inject plastic into new molds to create new products. For this, we will rely on the experience gained and shared by Precious Plastic, an open-source digital commons project for an alternative global recycling system. We will organize events in Skopelos and Alonissos Islands to present the project to the local community. And we plan to create a social cooperative enterprise to strengthen local partnerships, to encourage the sharing of experience, and to replicate the actions. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup Inès. Voilà, nous avons fait le tour donc des...
Thank you. We've done an overview of all the awardees for this year. We'll now have a Q&A session. So before talking about questions, do we have questions in the room? Before giving the floor on to the online attendants. I have a question. Amidst the 12 awardees, did you have a lot of candidates? And beyond the financial aspect, does BMed bring some know-how and knowledge to the awardees? Indeed, we've received 50 submissions. We select 12. We've selected 12 this year. And beyond the financial support, the aim is to create a synergy among this network of stakeholders to facilitate know-hows, to share the tools that are developed, the solutions that are implemented, if there are problems that have been met, to see how they can solve them together collectively. So this is the objective. And within the framework of the Monaco Ocean Week, we have a workshop of sharing of good practices among the last year's awardees, so as to try to maintain the network and keep it live. I have a question on the chat that is meant for Rebecca Morris from the Menorca Preservation Fund. Someone's asking, the IUCN has published a report through Plastic Waste Free Ireland, which is a detailed analysis of the origin of plastic pollution on Menorca. Does the project of your association include the data, this new data, and do you collaborate with the IUCN within this project? Rebecca, you have the floor.
Hello, yes. So the Alliance is part of the research carried out by IUCN. In fact, one of the organisations that sit within the Plastic Free Menorca Alliance feeds the data into IUCN's research. However, we felt that because it was a standard methodology that was used by IUCN, that an on-the-ground study that we felt was necessary would be complementary to IUCN's study.
Ok, merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Now we have a question from Marie Vivot and the Diving Center Pisa. The low-tech machine that you create, how do they help fight against plastic? How do you use it? Pierre-Ange, maybe you want to start with Marie Vivot? Yes. Our position is quite special because we're very much aware that these machines have limits and we cannot recycle every plastic that we collect on the beach. Our objective is rather to explain how to use the recycling and to have data on the percentage of plastic that we manage to recycle. And in this way, we can show that we have to insist upon prevention of plastic. Thank you, Pierre-Ange. Ines, would you like to pick up on this? Well, no. I'll give the floor to the next question, which is more general. How do NGOs work with local communities on plastic waste collection? Elvire, maybe you can answer to that question? Elvire Sekčević.
Pardon. La question, c'est comment le...
How do NGOs work with municipalities in the waste collection?
We are planning to release this action to involve also the utility company for the waste management. Before, when we organize the cleanup actions, we used to call them so they can come with their special trucks to collect this waste and to throw it in the landfill.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Peut-être Ivana Korvic, vous souhaitez...
Maybe Ivana Korvic, you want to add something to that?
I can give you an example, for Zlarin, for instance. Zlarin is administratively a part of the city of Šibenik. So we are very limited in the sense that, we can clean up, we can close the tap on Zlarin, but at the same time, it's really hard to build a brand of a plastic-free island if you don't have your local municipality supporting you with, their infrastructure. Because, you can't get your own garbage bins or recycling bins for the plastic, for instance, for plastic wrapping, which is not single-use plastic, and it's still there on the island. And then the tourists who are, mostly from foreign countries, they expect such facilities to be there. And if they're not there, then they question the idea behind that, and it's why didn't you agree upon that with the city? It's a very, I don't know what the process of waste management and the evolution of that is in your countries, but in Croatia it's a really big challenge. We are currently changing the law on waste management, and part of that change is transposition of the SUP directive into the concrete Croatian measures to actually improve the waste management of plastics. But on every step, there's some obstacle. That's why we are, in our campaigns, we're putting a lot of emphasis on on plastic reduction, so that people don't, we simply have to stop using it. And then then somehow in parallel to actually help people to who are running these firms to get the feedback from the ground to for them to understand that they have to change some things. But honestly, I mean, since China stopped importing it, that's just it closed the demand. And firms which are dealing with waste management of plastics are they have their own set of problems. So that there are so many actors, and our idea, what we can do, I mean, what you can do is simply to bring people to the table, to start talking, and to simply push, show the problem and show how it influences for us, for instance, the tourist image of Croatia. So that's one line of argument we can use, and we'll keep you posted on how that goes.
Merci beaucoup, Ivana. Alors, je crois qu'il est temps de conclure. Est-ce qu'il y a une dernière question?
I believe it is time to wrap up. Is there a last question in the room? No? Yes, there is one. I wanted to go back on that last question to make an additional comment. You could see that the call for micro-initiative was dedicated to civil society associations. I told you at the beginning of the speech that we were very satisfied by the intervention of the economic sector with the club that we created. I think the authorities and the decentralized local authorities on the ground need to come to the table. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about an initiative that was taken a few months back by the deputy Alexandra de Valletta Ardisson, who is the deputy of our neighboring locality nearby Monaco in France. And she wanted to regroup communities with a hope to go beyond. So if the sanitary situation was not such as it is today, we're supposed to finalize this commitment of local authorities of the French Riviera, joined, by the way, by Corsican authorities, who were supposed to finalize this today with the signing of a memorandum of agreement on the commitment of these territorial authorities. You understand perfectly well that the sanitary situation as they are now and the restrictions have made this impossible. But I wanted to highlight this commitment, which is fundamental, and I can only wish that in a very near future we will be able to finalize it. I think it doesn't stop those local communities to start working on the subject and to start thinking about extending this great initiative, again, coming from our French friends, to other territories. The Mediterranean region is wide enough to imagine other initiatives. I think now it is time to wrap up. I wanted to thank all the speakers today. Thank you all for having attended this conference. I also want to thank our donors, without which our work would not be possible. Thank you very much.